Welcome, everyone. This practice will focus on cultivating inner peace. As the Buddha so wisely said, true and lasting inner peace can never be found in external things. It can only be found within. And then, once we find and nurture it with ourselves, it radiates outward. So sometimes life gets crazy and we feel like tension and stress and overwhelm. And that's the time to just take some time to sit, focus on your breath, go inward, find that quiet place within. So it could be nice to have a blanket and some blocks handy. And we'll start in a seated position, feeling the inhale lift our chest and expand the belly, and the exhale soften us back down towards earth. And keep the breath steady and smooth, quiet and relaxed, almost without any effort. And we'll begin to cat-cow. So as you inhale, press your chest forward, and as you exhale, pull your belly back, feeling that openness and mobility in your spine. Moving slowly so you're not in any hurry, and just letting your body take you where it wants to, without focusing so much on the perfect way to do this, but just listening and moving and breathing. It's so important to have a flexible, mobile spine. It can help you feel good in so many ways. So just let yourself feel fluid and loose. Moving with the breath, feeling the wave-like motion of the spine. And come back to neutral position. Take a big inhale and a slow exhale. Again, focusing on the breath, focusing on relaxing, and focusing on the quiet spaces. Allow the exhale to be a little longer than the inhale. And let your breath flow naturally. And focusing on the breath can help us develop a sense of patience and paying attention to the more subtleties of our body and our mind. Notice if your breath is changing ever so slightly, becoming a little fuller without effort, and helping you to feel a sense of peace and equanimity inside. Begin to bring a little movement, so as you inhale, reach your arms up, and just reach from side to side. So reach up through the right side, reach up through the left side, just letting your body gently sway with the movement. I like to keep my eyes closed. I feel like it helps me to feel less distracted from things on the outside. And slowly start to reach forward between your legs. And here's where you might want to start using a block, and maybe a blanket on top of the block, just so that you feel comfortable. So whether you use the block or not, the block and the blanket or not, just allow your back to relax. And let your body settle in towards the earth. So forward folding is an act of introspection, an act of humility. It's focusing on the inward journey rather than the outward journey. On your next inhale, start to walk your hands back. And then we're going to do a little hip opener. So bring your knees into a perpendicular shape. And if that's too much, you can bring the knees and the heels closer together. And then we're going to start to lift the back knee and flip it around to the other side as we reach forward over our legs. We're going to alternate that flipping of the knees, nice and slowly, so we get some mobility in the hips. Let yourself fold over the front leg. Notice where you feel the stretch. This is a really nice one to gently open the hips. Then we'll come back to a neutral position with the legs spread apart. And again, we'll cat-cow here in between the legs. You can point your toes. And as always, let the breath guide you. And enjoy this freeing spinal movement. And walk your hands forward and just allow yourself to rest, either on the blocks and blanket or on the floor. Or if you have a bolster, you could use a bolster, or you could prop up some pillows. Just something to give you a little bit of height, if that would feel better for you today. Do any little adjustments that you need to do to feel completely comfortable. And then we'll slowly walk our hands back. You can move the block and the blanket out of the way. Bring your left foot into the inner right thigh. Reach your hands forward. Again, little cat-cow waves. Noticing that pelvic tilt and how it creates a different feeling in the stretch. And just take it nice and slow. Noticing if you're able to reach a little bit more forward with each breath. And resting in your forward fold over your right leg. Again, you could always use some blocks underneath your arms, underneath your head. Or, roll up the blanket, place it on your leg to give yourself a little more height in the forward fold. Or you might even just stay more upright with your hands on the floor, just trying to relax your body. So in order to find inner peace, we're not trying to necessarily challenge ourselves physically too much or make something more difficult than it needs to be. Instead, we're just going with the flow, focusing on slow movement in the breath, and cultivating that sense of deep inner awareness. Begin to walk your hands back and come back into a wide open straddle. Bring the right leg in to the left inner thigh, twist over your left leg. And start that little gentle cat-cow wave. See if you can find more openness in the spine. That sense of fluidity that our spines are meant to have, that we all had when we were babies, but that we've most likely lost at least some of it as we've grown older. It's not to say that we can return to a spine as flexible as when we were a baby, but we can get a lot closer when we practice. And now we're going to swing our legs around and come into pigeon pose with the left leg forward. You can come up onto your fingertips and cat-cow forward over your left leg. The closer you have your heel to your hip, it'll be a gentler hip opener. So you decide. And again, rest forward. You're always welcome to use your cushions or your blocks, your blanket folded up. Keep the front leg strong by pressing the outside edge of the foot into the floor to protect your knees. And then come over, and you're always welcome to come into eye of the needle on your back. I just kind of quickly showed that for you. But if you're comfortable in pigeon, you can stay in pigeon. You can always prop up your left hip with a blanket or a little pillow, just something to help your hips be comfortable. And you can see bringing the foot a little more forward will take you into a deeper stretch. I personally don't like to have my foot at a right angle to my knee. It's a little bit too much of a hip opener for me. So choose something that you can be comfortable in. And remember, deeper isn't always better. We need to learn to listen to our joints, to our breath, and appreciate where we are now. Remember to be grateful, even if we can barely fold forward. So now we're going to swing the back leg forward and the front leg back, coming back into pigeon. I like to call these pigeon waves, this cat-cow fluid spinal movement, bowing over your leg and then coming back up. You can point your back toes or you can flex your back foot. Just make sure that your ankle is long and straight and not sickled inward. Again, find that place of rest. Use the props if you would like. And let yourself relax and settle in. Inner peace is something that's very subtle. We can't demand that it happens. We have to allow ourselves to sink into it, to sink into the quiet. Sink into the spaciousness of our awareness. And let go. Let go of those thoughts that trouble us and that play over and over again in our head like a broken record. Those thoughts aren't doing us any good at all. And just let yourself surrender. Slowly walk your hands back. Come back into tabletop and rest your hips back on your heels in child's pose. Again, find that sweetness of the surrender. And sometimes it's nice to just take a short break when you're at home and get on the floor and come into child's pose for just a couple of minutes. It's a very calming pose. Again, here in child's pose, you could prop yourself up by placing a blanket underneath your legs or between your thighs and your calves to give your knees a little more space. It's important to make yourself comfortable. And start to walk your hands back. And we'll slowly make our way onto our backs. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock around on your hips. When you pull your knees in towards your chest, you get more of a massage on your low back. And when you stretch your knees away, you get more of a massage on your hips. So I like to do big circles, drawing the knees in, pressing them out. Then you can take one knee in each hand and begin to circle your knees apart from each other. Feeling that nice sweet movement in the hips. And reverse the direction of your circles. Just letting your upper body relax. Bring your arms out to the side. Keep your knees tucked. And twist both legs over to the right as you turn your head gently to the left. You can always prop your legs up with a block between your knees or underneath both knees, or use that blanket again so that you can truly relax in the twist. Trying to keep both shoulders down, so it's better to have the legs lifted a little bit and supported than to have the shoulder popping up. So it would be your left shoulder with the knees to the right. You can also shimmy your shoulders a little bit to the right, and that can often help to lower that left shoulder down a little bit more. And as you stay here in the twist, you might find that your body is able to relax a little bit more into the twist as you stay here, focusing on your breath and just letting go. Not trying to twist any deeper, but being more of an observer and being content with wherever you are. You want to feel your body moving with the breath. Even though you're mostly in a pose that's very still and passive, the breath never stops. Are you okay with stillness? And inhale, bring your knees back up again. Hug your knees into your chest. Stretch your legs up and rock up to seated. And we'll do a seated forward fold here. So feel free to roll up a blanket and place it underneath your knees to give your knees a little bit of support, the back of your knees some support. Or you might be able to just fold forward over your legs. So the idea is that your low back is long and your upper back rounds, and shoulders relax. Let your hands rest wherever is comfortable. And allow your mind to be more introspective. To be okay with focusing on the breath and noticing the subtleties of just how every part of your body is feeling and how your mind feels when the body is relaxed. We'll just stay here for a few more breaths. You can always come out early if you need to. But by now you might be feeling really comfortable. And slowly we'll start to walk our hands back. Make our way over to the wall, so you can do legs up the wall. So start with your hips right at the wall, with your legs to the side, and roll onto your back. You might have to kind of shimmy your hips toward the wall. This is nice to just have a gentle passive inversion. Feeling the weight in your hips. If you have a sandbag, it could be nice to place on your feet or across your belly. And just let the shoulders completely relax in your neck, your belly. And you can stay in legs up the wall for as long as you want. You can also slowly make your way up to a comfortable seat when you're ready to finish. And again, focus on the breath, noticing if the breath comes a little more easily. And so we end as we began, seated with the breath. And noticing, do you feel a sense of peacefulness, equanimity? Know that this quiet, peaceful place always lives inside of you. If you like this video, please click on the like button below, subscribe to my channel, and let your friends know about this video if it helped you at all. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. I really appreciate it. I'd love to hear your comments, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening or whatever time it is that you're practicing.